regular job, 14, I was a professional counselor, worked in the local YMCA. And there, even though I was 14 years old, I was able to be a counselor, help children with their issues and problems, but also with activities and fun and showing them how to keep busy and work with very little. So at that time when I was working at the Y, the resources were limited, and you just have the basic sports materials. So we had to really be creative. That was the thing to helping the young people to create games and things like that without, having a lot of money to spend on games. So fun games, hide and seek, these are old games, but there were a lot of other games that the kids were not used to playing, and with role models. So a game would be acting as well. And then having them to draw and create their own concept and then do theater. So these are the type of things that I was able to learn when I was, just 14. And that's really what kept the younger kids busy, so that as they went through school and then wanted to participate in after school programs, that also I had an opportunity to do that through middle school and of course finishing up through high school, working all the way while also playing sports in school myself.
Okay, I'm about to ask you 4 more questions. The first question I'm going to ask you for the last 4 is, what type of music is played in Philly Funk Radio?
Okay, Philly Funk Radio, it is great. We have jazz, which is called, the jazz beat. We have R&B. We have funk, of course, Philly Funk Radio. But we also have classic jazz as well. So classical music. So it's just roundabout. And basically, we have people that listen to it from kids' music to adults, seniors. Which era, from the 50s to going back to the 30s, and even to current time period where music is something that everybody really enjoys. So that's the kind of music that we have at Van Stone Radio and, of course, Philly Funk Radio.
Okay, so you kind of alluded to this question. I'm going to ask you, what made you do comics, especially as you said there was I think you told me that you did comics because you felt like there was a lack of black representation in comic media. There were some black characters like Black Panther and it's like Spawn maybe, but like you said, what made you got into making like comic book characters and do comic book strips?
Right. Well, as a young guy, looking at comic strips and comic books, and, there's a difference between a comic strip and a comic book. Big difference. With a comic book, you have more room to tell a story. You have pages. With a comic strip, you only have a panel, and you have to really have your pictures to really tell the story. So in reading the daily comics in the regular newspaper, basically I would just see all these comic strips, but no black characters in the comic strips. And then when you get a hold of a comic book, you go back to Richie Rich and other old comic books, the Archies and so forth, you still didn't see many blacks at all. So as a young person, I didn't want to wait until someone else later on come up with Luke Cage, which was a black character. Black Panther came out afterwards. And what's really interesting, even Wonder Woman, coming to find out that the characters were all designed based on the real history of black folks. And so I decided to just, through my characters, to expose that and let them know that really most of your most fantastic and loved characters, even Batman, which is a beloved character, most of the storylines are based on the actual characters of black people. And at that time, they just couldn't dare really put out a lot of black characters because that exposes the history of our country, even now, still dealing with racism and all the different things. So with our characters today, we have it where it's open to everyone. Regardless of what your race is, everyone can get to understand facts and then also still enjoy and take pride in a superhero, because we all would love to have a superhero.
Okay, so the last 2 questions I'm going to ask, it's going to be together. first one I'm gonna ask you is what's your family life is like, and what's it like being a father, especially having like one child. Like what's it like to be a father, especially as a black, like especially in the black community where I mean there is black dads, but like you start since a long time there's like I mean you do see some, but there's not that really many. I don't say many. I'm not saying this like black fathers, but what's your impact as a as a dad and as a not just a leader to your household.
Right. Well, as a dad, I always have to be a role model. So that's a very good point that you bring out, that the dads seem to be missing, the black fathers seem to be missing in a large number. But when we say seem, the reason why you don't see them is because they're so busy in positive things, probably working 2 and 3, 4, 5 jobs, and so you don't really see many fathers on the fields of sports, or the fields of teaching your children how to learn skills and things like that. You know, whatever that skill could be, from fixing cars and all the things that was the normal thing that most fathers you would see really passing along to their kids. So me as a father and a parent, being able to have my children, whether they are my biological children or if they are my adopted children in that sense, participate in a large way, that helped really change the view of black fathers. So that back in the day you would hear the statement, oh, you're different. No, I'm not different. It's just that this is the standard of more black fathers, what you see in me. And then the rumors that you hear, most of the black men, they're in jail, so forth and so on. Well, that's not true. It's a high number of that. But most of the black men are very passionate. They're teachers, they're educators, they're just in about any situation. They're leaders, they're managers. And, when you get to see an attitude with passion, as I have for my children, especially my son, Chef Stone, who, is doing the same type of thing that I'm doing. He's just doing his animation, and he's a writer and so forth. He's going to go into media, hopefully, and be his own success person. That just leaves the example to show that fathers, especially black fathers, are very emotional and very caring and very dedicated and also very trustworthy. So all the positive things and the stories that you need to hear about fathers, you really expect that and look about things like that when you start talking about black fathers. That's really the role model that I think I like and enjoy trying to just be in myself doing.
Okay, thank you. You can send me some after I end this B-roll, any extra footage you can give me to put in this documentary. And if you if I have any more questions, I'll ask you in person, or I'll call you, or I'll Zoom you, and I'll record it. And thank you.
You're welcome.